I don't think we probably are having technical difficulty. I think oh, shit.
That's boom.
Do the thing!
Do the thing.
Broadcast from an orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician, it's LaveRadio.
Attention. Would you like to rework greater rate? Would you like to turn up?
Space can be low.
Switching to manual flying.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to the massive episode 250 of LaveRadio. We are the show that talks about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it, that in fact are sitting in front of me. Hello, guys. Hello. Nice. We should have probably had a microphone facing forward for that bit, but well done, guys. I'm your host, second technician, Fozza Forrester, and joining me in Sedgwick Hall in Northamptonshire, in the United Kingdom, on planet Earth, in the Sol System for Lavecon this year, we have Commander Toxic.
Good evening, afternoon, sorry.
Sorry, did I catch you out there?
It's not Tuesday, we're not at home.
Next to Toxic, we have the wonderful Ben Moss-Mudwood, otherwise known as Commander Edelweiss.
Good afternoon, Commander.
Good afternoon. And on my left, we have the wonderful Commander Shan.
Hello.
Hello, Shannigan. Oh, shenanigans.
Shala-la-la-la.
Shenanigans is currently at Colonia. So
Okay, fine.
You're safe.
Excellent. And we have a ringer. Not a dead ringer. We have a ringer.
Anyway, no.
Greetings. Welcome to the show. Who are you?
Hello, I'm Commander Shockanor, or otherwise known as John Lunn, one half of Spidermind Games.
Welcome, sir. It's great to have you on the show. If you'd like to join us, you can. You could buy a ticket about 2 months ago when we were selling them and come down to Northampton. Otherwise, you can join us on the Twitch stream. We're not doing anything in game unless the LAN room's doing anything exciting. But we are here at Lavecon. We've been here for the last 2 days, some of us since Friday, basically catching up with the community, catching up with Frontier Developments, and doing all sorts of really good stuff with the most amazing community in the gaming universe. So, by all means, if you haven't joined us this year, then I think we'll probably do it again next year. Do you think we'll do it again?
Probably.
Yeah. I think it's probably a safe bet that we'll probably run something similar again next year. So make sure you get here for next year.
Don't make it sound like there's doubt, Fozzie. We will be here next year.
We will be here next year. There's always some doubt as whether or not we'll come back to the hotel because it just seems to be getting bigger and better, and the ticket seems to sell out so quickly that maybe we keep on threatening to get a bigger venue, but. I think the hotel here is so kind
it here
to us.
as well.
Well,
yeah.
The hotel are so nice.
It's a home away from home.
It is.
They just need to expand for us, it's fine.
All people just need to press F5 quicker. Be quicker on the F5.
We've also, I suppose, we've expanded the camping tickets as well. So even though there's no more room in the hotel, you can pitch a tent up in the grounds and do that. Although I did feel slightly sorry. Well, no, when I arrived, the sun was shining. It was glorious. There was people sat outside their tents with their camping chairs, and it just looked absolutely idyllic. It looked fantastic. And then Saturday happened. And we were all looking out the window where there was an absolute massive sort of thunderstorm, a downpour of rain, just as we were about to do the group photo for the year. And I couldn't help but think about those wonderful people that have brought their tents, thinking, yeah, maybe being in the hotel's a better idea this year.
But it's Britain. You don't go camping and expect dry weather. You go to a camping, you expect it to rain.
No, well, yeah, okay, so that's fair. That's absolutely fair, Ben.
To be fair, it's Britain, and if you're choosing to camp, then you have to deal with the weather that comes at you.
Yeah, that's true.
There was a commander who I'll let remain anonymous, but got his tent from Amazon, put it up, says it's a nice 3-man tent. Then he finds out it doesn't have a front door. And it's not actually long enough for his legs.
How do you get a tent that hasn't got a front door?
Or is not long enough for your legs?
I'm guessing it's one of these I'm fishing kind of shade tents or something like that. Not an actual sleeping tent.
But it's still surely got to have a... Oh, has it just got an opening?
It's just...
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So it's literally, what is it, a bivouac? Is that what they're called? I don't know if we've got any fishermen in the room, but I think it's a bivouac where they've got the tent with the opening and the...
It's the Bear Grylls special.
So the fact that it peed down with
basher, I
rain
think
on
it's called.
Saturday nights was probably not great for that guy.
He was more worried about getting molested by rabbits.
What have you been training the rabbits to do, Ben?
I blame Alvin for anything like that.
In fairness,
You
yes.
can't blame Alvin.
The rabbits here are quite prestigious, is that the word? There's a lot of them anyway. Tasty, says Gran from behind the curtain. Yeah, they are. There's quite a few of them just rambling around the grounds. The grounds of which are lovely, but yeah, it's nice to see all the rabbits. There was no LARPing. There was Jugger. The first year we came here, those people that weren't here or don't know what Jugger is, it's kind of like a cross between American football, rugby, and
weapons.
with LARPing weapons, and. Yeah, it was great fun. There was a little bit concern about some of our patrons who haven't tried it before, and maybe I take myself into consideration when I say this. Haven't been doing a regular exercise regime for a while, and then give me a broadsword and a foam shield, and then suddenly I'm Conan the Barbarian storming through the ranks. I was a little bit concerned that we might have a few heart attacks
Should have
before the
had
first game with
paramedics
Jugger was
standing by.
finished. Yeah.
Is that the year all the 5-year-old? You made all the 5-year-olds cry by chasing after them with a broadsword.
In fairness, they were my level of opposition. The 6 and 7-year-olds were probably the only ones that I could actually beat. So I make no apologies for that whatsoever. Anyway, I have a feeling we might have digressed again. So, Lavecon, what we're going to do for this particular show, we're going to go through some of the weekend highlights. We'll go up and down the panel to discuss what we've really enjoyed, some of the things that we've heard. Obviously, we've had the Frontier panel. We've had a few reveals from that one. Some of them revealing, some of them some of them not so revealing, considering that we might have seen some of them before they arrived, which was upsetting for them. But yeah, it's been a great Frontier panel so far. So, and then we've also got the wonderful audience that have joined us here. There's a few people milling around the hotel playing board games and stuff that I'm sure will drop in as we go through the show. But we're going to have an open mic to the audience to get a bit of a feel about what people in the room have really enjoyed about Lavecon this year. And then we're going to wrap up our 250 our show with the one after 249 and the one before 251.
250th.
That one. That's the one that we're doing.
50th.
So our show. So let's start off with, let's start off with our sponsor, our fantastic sponsors this year, Spider-Man Games, who came to obviously do the Elite Dangerous roleplay stuff in the board games, but they also had the latest project, which obviously is the Elite Dangerous Battle Cards games, which some people have tried. I think this is probably its second or third sort of major public outing.
Yeah, this is its second Lavecon outing, but it was at UK Games Expo last year as well.
So for those people that weren't watching the Twitch stream when we were doing a Will versus Jarvis battle card off.
That'll do.
Match. We'll go with match.
Match.
Yeah.
Right.
And which was really good. And if you haven't seen that, then do check out the videos, because that was a really good overview of how this game works. But how's it gone down?
It seems to be going down very well. The table was always had people waiting to play it. So yeah, and the reviews have been kind. And I was kind of expecting, to be totally honest, if you're going to flash yourself naked.
Hey.
And it's an Elite Dangerous type of naked. Do it in front of this lot, because they're going to give you the honest answer. When you come to Lavecon, they're not going to beat about the bush. It's not a sort of polite nod, smile, and a thanks very much, that was nice, and off they go like you get at UK Games Expo. And I have to say, everybody has been very kind, and and we've had some great feedback. So, and some incredible pre-orders, because I know people have been messed about slightly with this campaign, it having been pre-order, then Kickstarter, and then back to pre-order. Some people have actually bought the product 3 times. I'm glad to say only been charged once. But yeah, we've had incredible support, and from a personal point of view, people going, stick with it. I know you've been messed about, but it's, we can see it's not your doing. But it's a great community, but then everybody knows that.
Okay, so outside of battle cards, we'll start with you. What's been your highlight from the Lavecon thing? What have you really enjoyed?
I mean, is it going to sound shallow to say Frontier sticking the credit card behind the bar last night?
Right, I'm not sure if that was supposed to go out on the mainstream, but maybe we can use that as an incentive for other people to come and join us last year.
If you missed out, it included Frontier buying us a few beers. So thank you very much indeed, Frontier, for that.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we'll talk about the Frontier panel, but yes, we did have a ringer come in. When we introduced the show, I did say it was very unfortunate that Sandy Samarco obviously has moved on to different projects, so he wasn't going to be joining the Frontier panel this year. But the upside was at least the bar won't run out of gin. And then as we're doing one of the events, who do I see out of the corner of my eye? But Sandy has done a Stan Lee cameo out of nowhere and appeared at Lavecon. So yeah, Sandy Samarco was here and he was drinking gin and he was wearing his wonderful cowboy hat. So it was lovely to see him.
Yeah. And then the bar did run out of money.
And then the bar ran out of gin, yeah. And I'm talking on behalf of Oliver, who's not here because he cannot be pried away from the retro games room. He adored that room, and it was amazing. For me, apart from the bar and the free beer, getting to have a go on an Oculus S, I believe it is. That's the new one without the sensors that you need to attach in your room. I had a go with that, and I now must buy one immediately.
Absolutely. I've got the Rift S at home, and my room was a bit of a nightmare to set up with sensors, and it works so well without sensors. It's a really immersive experience. So, yeah.
They're not wrong when they say Elite Dangerous and the VR goggles just match. And if you don't have them, buy them immediately as well, because they are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've said a few times about VR this weekend that Elite Dangerous is still the gold standard game for VR.
And the fact that people will bring their own rigs down and just go, hey, random people, come and try my goggles, and I'm fine and I trust you with it. But again, that's why coming here is awesome for us, and amazing opportunity to sponsor it for the second year in a row. And yes, please, if Karen's listening, we'll sponsor it next year as well, if you're looking. But yeah, it's just been awesome. Everything has been awesome. But yeah, for me, it was the goggles, and for Oliver, it was the retro gaming.
Yeah, no, the retro gaming, we'll come on to it, I'm sure. There's a few other people, but it's certainly one of my highlights as well. Commander Sean?
For me, I've spent most of the weekend what I call working the rooms, of going around and chatting to people, getting what they think and stuff like that. So that's been a real highlight for me, meeting people who I didn't know and are here for the first time. And I think it's great to see old faces and you catch up, but it's also been great to see new people who've decided to come along, and that's what keeps the event fresh, is because new people come along and they enjoy it. The other highlight for me, and we'll go on to the announcements later, is how much effort and time Frontier themselves put into coming here. Many of the games companies, they turn up, do the panel and go home. But Frontier were here, out in force, mixing, talking until the early hours, and then some.
And then some.
And that's always appreciated, to have a games company coming out. It didn't feel like a them and us. It was just they have a different role than we do.
And if they can trust us by getting bladdered in front of us, I always consider that a real compliment. If someone feels relaxed enough to get shedded in front of you, then that is a true mark of a friend.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm going to digress straight away. But I was at the bar getting a drink, and the Frontier crew were there, and they were doing Jaeger bombs. And I did not know that Jaeger bombs have become so popular that they have their own plastic cups, where they're actually the Jägermeister goes into the central bit, which is molded plastic, where you'd normally put a shot glass. That's actually molded into the cup, and then the Red Bull goes around the end, and they've designed these plastic cups for literally nothing but Jaeger bombs. So, in fact, that was the one that had a hole in it, wasn't it? Because I'm thinking the Ben was there. Now I'm thinking the memory's starting to come back. So your plastic cup had a hole in it, and when you went to drink it, not that you have a drinking problem, but most of it did end up pouring down your front.
That was actually the second time I got attacked by alcohol last night. So the first time, a certain Commander Yalex decided to be his usual enthusiastic self, and being very expressive, decided to go off and knock my pint. That was fine. It was only a little bit that came out. And then what was amazing about that, though, was Orange Spark within about half a second, managed to whip off his pair of socks and offered them to me to dry myself with his socks.
And you took them, didn't you?
No.
Are you sure?
No, I just sucked on my top to get the beer out.
Okay, I don't know at which point I need to say ooh at this juncture. Is it the socks? Is it you sucking your own nipple to try and get alcohol out of it? Or, yeah, I'm not sure where we go with that one. So, but yeah, anyway, so absolutely we digress. So Jaeger bombs come with their own plastic molded cup. I've never known that before. But yes, Frontier were there and they were there to the early hours and it was nice to see that we had a few shared hangovers within the community and the Frontier team this morning at breakfast. Us blaming Frontier blaming the community. It's the bonding
Just like
session.
the forums.
Absolutely, just like the forums. Us
don't think
blaming
it's the
Frontier,
bonding.
Frontier blaming the community. So it's business as usual, to be fair.
I'm not sure if it's a bonding session or just the bottles of whiskey.
Well, there was that. So
I do have to give a shout out to Will and Sally and the other part of the community team because they came here quite nervous of what to expect.
yeah.
And I have to say they did a great job of
They
not
did,
only
didn't they?
making us feel welcome, but the whole organisation side of it was, they did really well. this
Yeah,
year.
so it was Will Page and Sally, wasn't it? And it's been a few people's first Lavecon, and because we've been here year after year, I dare say we're not so much cliquey because I think that's the nice thing about Lavecon is that we're fully warm and welcoming to everybody. In fact, it was a guy that's been missing for a couple of years, Commander Dobbo, who said that his biggest complaint about Lavecon is that he can't catch up with all of his old Lavecon friends because he's too busy making new ones. I think that pretty much sums up what sort of community event Lavecon actually is. So yeah, hopefully Will, Paige, and Sally will be happy to come back again next year. Ben, your highlights.
I can't probably say my highlights because they happened after the Jaeger bombs.
You have to tell us now, Ben. We can't keep us dangling.
I have certain photographic evidence of...
Again, whoa. That's never a good way to start a conversation.
And just remember,
I'm
only a
just
little bit came
saying-
out, didn't it?
Will and Paige were Will and Sally handling weapons that are bigger than they are. Yeah.
I don't know how to take this.
Well, that's ruined the flow,
Very
isn't it?
carefully.
Fozza, think hard.
That's
So whose weapon were they handling, Ben?
No.
I don't actually know whose weapon it was.
No. Right. Pulling the
that's-
plug on that one. So let's
that's
take that.
Spider-Mine's
Let's take that
license
one
gone.
into a different direction. So there were some fantastic costumes. Their cosplay from this year. We had an element of the community that did a really great job, and there was a phenomenal futuristic minigun, for want of a better expression, a laser minigun that you'd normally see on something from Warhammer 40,000. I'm assuming that's what it was.
That's exactly what it was.
Excellent. Fine.
It's
Just to clarify.
Brilliant chain gun, basically.
Chain gun.
That was made using a drill and foam.
Oh, it actually went round.
Yeah, it went round.
Oh, I thought it
the
was
drill
static.
lasted for about 5 minutes and only did about 20 or 30 RPM. So it wasn't scary fast drill, but
If I was getting shot with 30 rounds,
you wouldn't want to.
They should make it shoot Nerf darts.
Oh, that'd be so amazing. But I don't think
there
that'd
must be a Nerf chain gun somewhere.
There
around.
is.
Yeah.
There is.
There
But
is,
it wouldn't
yeah,
be allowed
my
at Lavecon
youngest
because we're not
British fan
allowed
has one.
those things.
Okay. Again, I feel we've digressed. So what you can remember before the Jägermeisters, what was your best Lavecon event? Memory, experience. I love the way you have to think about this when we haven't, it's not as if we haven't planned this. It's not as if it's not in the show notes.
I wrote the bloody show notes, but it doesn't mean I know what I'm going to say. I did enjoy. I really enjoyed actually setting up Artemis on the Friday night
Really?
and then testing it afterwards.
Oh, crap, Artemis, I'm supposed to be there at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, so is John.
Yeah, so you.
Yeah, maybe not then.
So it's still another year to goes by without me sitting in the captain's chair at Artemis, which is probably a good thing
that
for all the other teams.
Yeah, that captain's chair, though, it gives you a massage when you get shot. It's brilliant.
Don't tell him that. He's always going to get shot.
I was going to say, considering I would be losing badly, I would be very calm and very relaxed during the whole process.
It's a very comfy captain's chair.
Let's move on. Toxic. Your best experience so far of Lavecon?
Honestly,
Yep.
Ben coming out with purple hair.
Come on, give us the purple hair experience, considering I shared the room with you. And before you told this story, let me talk about what you've been talking about before you did the hair thing. So all the way through, when we were sharing a room with Ben on the Friday night of setting up, he said, Foz, I need a hairdryer. And for those people that have seen the wonderful Commander Adel device, yeah, he's got more hair than me, but that's not difficult. But he hasn't exactly got a lot of
long flowing locks.
Yeah. So I was thinking, okay, why does he want a hairdryer? It might be some sort of personal hygiene reason that I don't want to delve into too deeply. I haven't, never shared a room with this boy before, so maybe I'll just sort of, brush it off to one side. And then we did find a hairdryer, which was obviously in the normal hairdryer place, and if we were
because everybody keeps hairdryers in their office desk drawer.
It's not the office desk, though, is it? It's the only place in the room that has a mirror. So if you're going to do...
There's a great big chuffing mirror next to the front door.
Not that you can sit
and
at
in the bathroom.
I thought hairdryer came in holsters.
So it was where you'd normally find a hairdryer, which is next to the desk that you can sit on to do your hair. So we eventually found this, and I left Ben alone to play with his hairdryer for whatever reason it was that he needed to play with his hairdryer. And then you appeared moments later.
So
In front of the rest of us.
Oh, no, we're
who
rewinding.
sat-
Rewinding.
Oh, right.
You're jumping ahead.
My bad. I'll
So,
keep quiet.
right, from my perspective, I spent the beginning of Friday saying, Fozza, where do you think the hairdryer is? I don't know. Do I need a hairdryer? I don't need a bloody hairdryer.
In fairness, this is true.
And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll deal with it. I then go off and I read the instructions for this purple hair wax stuff that washes out. And the first step of it was wash your hair, dry your hair fully, gently apply and massage it into your scalp.
You obviously spent quite a lot of time reading those instructions for you to be able to actually parrot them back out word for word.
I had, because I didn't want to be able to try and read them later. So I did this and okay, well, first part's out the window. Okay, not a problem. I'm trying to do this on the fairly quiet. So the only place I could actually do, because Fozza didn't go out the room, and he was in the room writing up his 10 o'clock show notes.
That's true.
So Fozza was in the room, meaning the only place I could go off and do this was in the bathroom after Fozza and I had both had showers. Funnily enough, this is a very moist and...
Whoa. Back that train up there, boy.
Funnily enough, this is a very steamy...
No, even worse. No, it was not moist or steamy in our twin room.
Damp?
No, not soggy either.
Humid.
Humid, fine, humid. We'll go with humid.
It was a very hot and humid environment. And I had just had a shower. So I was like, okay, well, dry's out the window. Let's put it in. Let's see what happens.
No, not that phrase.
So I get some nice scoops of this purple waxy product, put it into my hair, pull it through, do what needs to be done, and it's like all clumping everywhere. And then because everything's very humid, it then starts dripping everywhere, because of course I'm all wet as well.
Worst tangent ever.
So I come out of this after applying all this hair gel and stuff like that. My hands are bright purple. My hair has got clumps of purpley stuff through it. And my face is basically from my forehead down to about my nose, purple. And then I realise I need to put a t-shirt on. Yeah, but eventually we kind of managed to dry off a little bit and get out to the... Oh, and of course we only had about 15 minutes before the start of the show.
So it's a quickie then, really, Ben?
It's a what, sorry?
A quickie.
It had to be a quickie.
Unlike the story, which seems to be going on a while.
So I sort of come out here and it's like, okay, I managed to get everything off. Still fairly moist. Run out. Past everybody and like, Ben, you've got purple dribbling out your ear. And it was like, so go in and grab wads of tissue and I'm now at the front of the stage dabbing bits of tissue on, trying to not have purple on, at least keep the purple on the tissue and not not all over the stage.
Well, I don't know what my highlight, but I know what my low light to Lavecon is. Right, but was it worth it?
You lot tell me. I quite like eventually once I stopped raining purple, I quite liked it.
It looked good. Yeah, forget the purple rain. It looked good. I'm not sure it was worth the effort, but yeah.
Colin's not here to say so himself, but me and him were sat here practically wetting ourselves laughing as he came in. I was trying to call him to see where he was, being a couple of minutes late from the show. I see him coming through the door.
Oh, Toxic, take us out of this hell and tell us what your best experience of Lavecon's weekend has been so far, mate.
I would, but you lot started telling a story. The classic games room, I think. I had a lot of fun in the classic games room. Retro games. Getting on an old Amiga A4000 and seeing if I could get back into BASIC again.
Oh, BASIC.
BASIC 5, I think it was running.
Is that sort of BASIC where it's 10, go to 20, 20 print, go to 10? Something like that. Yeah. No, I was like 6 when we had a BASIC machine, which I hadn't broken. So yeah, and did you manage to? Did you crack the BASIC? Did you manage to create any pokes? Did you manage to create Centipede or anything?
I didn't create a game, but I created something I had to get rid of rather quickly.
Is this something like the old calculators where you could say boobless or something, or did you manage to make some sort of ASCII animation?
No, it'd be a program that asked for a password and then would tell you your password is not long enough. Don't ask.
Okay, I'm not going to. Fine. Let's move on to one of my favourite bits, which of course is always a highlight, and that's the Frontier panel. So let's talk about some of the stuff that Frontier actually did share with us this year. So obviously one of the main points was Dav Stotts. Did a really good presentation on the background simulation stuff, which I'm hoping you guys have more to talk about than I do. But the thing I quite liked about the background simulation was the fact that Frontier never really designed the background simulation to do the stuff that the community decided they wanted it to do. It was never supposed to be as granular or as detailed as what the Frontier or what the Elite Dangerous community wanted to get out of it. And the fact that we've got all of these factions, these community factions that are able to understand the ticks, that are able to actually take over systems, understand how to do that, which, as Frontier said, was with quite a basic system. It surprised the hell out of them. So he was giving us an update as to some of the stuff they're going to try and do around the background simulation to make it more fit for purpose, really.
One of the things that surprises me about when you listen to Dav describe the background sim is how simple he makes it sound. But when you actually say, I'll just do this and this and this and this, and you're thinking, I have no idea how you work that out. It's just so above my level of mathematics.
I like the way you say he made it sound so simple.
And then it confused the hell out of you.
Am I the only person in this room who thought, sorry, no idea what's that? Thank you. Couple of hands there.
He lost me when he started talking about standard deviations and said, no, seriously, it doesn't get any more complicated than this. Yeah, he had me lost pages before that. But it's nice to know that, and in fairness, that the people in the Elite Dangerous community who do run the background simulations, I'm always in awe of them anyway in terms of their understanding of how it all works and what needs to happen in order to get things to go the way you want to. I just listen to them. They're far more intelligent than I am, and I'm sure they understood what Dav was talking about. And it's nice that it's going to be rehauled so that it makes a little bit more sense to what we actually want to use it in game.
What has happened? It's not what will happen; it's what has happened already.
So you're confused by what has already occurred?
No, well, the Discovery Scanner bit was the changes from pre 3.3 to what happened in 3.3. So he was talking retrospectively about the changes made in 3.3 to BGS, not what's going to happen.
So I obviously missed that bit to begin with. So I was obviously more confused than I thought before it even started. So excellent. Yeah, so never come into a presentation halfway through. So that was interesting. We had a lot on the new player experience. Now I know we've talked about the new player experience on the show for a while. It's been going on. We've been talking about it for a while, and so the voice-acted content guiding new players, I think it is a good thing. We probably weren't the audience to appreciate it because I think most of us are, long-standing veterans of the game. But I think it's nice to be able to get new players into the community, get them into the game. As far as from a purely selfish point of view, the more players, the more money, the more time they're going to spend, improving the game that we all love to play. So, anything that makes it easier for new players to pick up the game and get going, I think is great. And I think the effort they're putting into that looks phenomenal.
One of the things that Frontier shared with me about the new player experience and things is they said, don't underestimate how much effort goes into making voice-acted content. So even though to us it might seem, oh, this is blah, 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 it takes an awful amount of effort to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't underestimate the amount of time and stuff it took to put that in.
Yeah. So obviously, if we're going to get direct input from the audience, it helps if we get you in a microphone. So
Try that again.
Take that from the top.
I was just saying that I thought that the main reason they're doing it is because they're expecting a lot of new players to come in next year with the big expansion next year. So lay the groundwork now, so that when they start playing, it will be a better experience for them.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Who are you?
Commander Osric.
Commander Roderick. Thanks for that, Roderick.
Osric.
Yeah, Roderick. Excellent.
So I was just going to say, I think Wotherspoon,
so well.
Toxic, and myself can all appreciate how hard it is to get any kind of voice acting stuff coordinated and then edited down into something that sounds remotely professional. And Frontier nail it all the time. It's great.
I do. I have to say I had a bit of an existential crisis because I was sat there thinking to myself, voice help? I didn't get voice help when I started, so why on earth should they? And then I was suddenly like, no, hang on, John. More players means more fans of the battle cards, more fans of the RPG, more copies sold of both. Don't be so strict. But I mean, come on. I could see people sat there going, well, didn't get any help.
As I said, we might not have been the best audience, but
I think it is such a great idea because I wanted it when I first. Well, could have benefited from it and would have become better at it quicker and therefore stayed. A lot of people I know would have stayed around rather than bounced. So it was nice for Frontier to recognise that they were losing people at that point and to try and fix it.
So they did show a few snippets of what the improvements were. I mean, they showed a fly-through of an obstacle course come racetrack through what looked like a CQC asset.
Yeah.
And they did say that these new missions and this new content for new players are going to be available as training scenarios. So you can actually experience them without having to reset your save. So it'll be interesting to see that, and I can see the sequence they showed of the gates and you flying your ship through them in sequence, becoming something of maybe a racetrack or prelude to racing up. So you can see how they're going to build on.
They just need to do one now for SRVs, and we're away.
Yeah.
I really hope, though, that we've got them in the training missions and things like that, but I really do hope that we also see them around some installations in game so that certain commanders who like that kind of thing can go off and fly through their rings, doing races, timing it, and all that kind of stuff. It's a great opportunity if we can get that in as well.
I think the tutorial they're still missing is how to set your key bindings between updates. So I'm still waiting for them to get the hang of that. So that's my biggest reason why I don't rejoin the game sometimes is because I have to eat donuts. No, I have to. Donuts have just arrived, by the way.
Lovely.
So no, but
we have got the best audience here. Coffee and donuts in the middle of a show.
But yeah, so I still think if there's only one area for newbies, it's just the control system. There's so much to do in the game. Trying to get your key bindings and understand exactly what all of those do, especially when you've got the SRV driving and also the fantastic camera suite and stuff. It can be a bit mind-boggling at times trying to, and I suppose the scanner as well. So I think anything that they can do to make that easier for new players, I think would be a good shout.
I'm going to be a little bit more contrary than that. I'm going to slightly disagree with what you're saying, in that I don't believe the control method is the biggest hurdle for new players. It's getting used to having no guided content. So once you've learned to fly and done the shifts, all of a sudden you're on your own. Traditional games, you have a main quest line, you're directed on what to do. But with Elite, you're just dumped in a ship and told right there to go. And that change of mindset from directed content through, oh my God, what to do next, is, I think, a big hurdle for quite a lot of players.
But didn't they say there was going to be some training missions? Some
mission
boards?
Once you've done the training missions, then what? So we'll see what they come up with.
More missions?
This is exactly, though, what I was asking for after we had the April update. It's like, okay, that's great. You've started a new commander. You're in this lovely new shiny starting area. What the heck do we do next? And now we're finding out that in the September update, they'll show us what to do next. But I think I share your concern there, Shan, that it'll be a couple of, this is how you fly, this is how you dock, this is how you supercruise. This is where you would go to get a mission and go.
But then it's also on us as experienced players to help show newer players the availability of content that isn't just about bigger ships, more credits, more combat rank. We need to show them the cardboard box that is Elite Dangerous to play with.
Also, surely each mission will be of a different type, and therefore, once you've done your various missions, you then get to choose which of those you liked, i.e. there must be delivery missions, there must be bounty hunting missions, there must be, presumably, you then know what you can do in Elite before you're then, as it were, kicked out of the back door and told to get on with it.
So, to jump in here, a friend of mine, I recently brought a friend of mine Elite Dangerous, and the biggest problem he had with it was docking more than anything.
Really?
Yeah.
That's exactly why they've given us the advanced docking computers, though, that if you are new to the game, you can hit the auto launch and I'm going to park up and let my ship land for me now and do all that lovely stuff that Sarah gave us.
True, but back then we didn't have that. I actually had to get him to give me his email address, password, and login code so that I could go and do a couple of missions, get him a docking computer so that at least...
Oh, man.
You heard it here first. EULA breach.
Exactly.
EULA breach.
EULA breach. Okay, so the other thing that they brought to us was, again, trying to unify some of the platforms that Elite Dangerous runs on, and that is the new ARC currency. So obviously, we've had in-game purchases for cosmetic stuff for a while. What this will do, combined with a new storefront that's accessible at any point through the main menu, so you don't actually have to change ships or anything or be in a space station. You can go into the main menu and you can buy any of the cosmetics things using ARC points. So the ARC currency, again, it would be quite common for the likes of people on consoles to buy Frontier points. It's going to be a similar system for that. So, you'll go in, you'll buy ARC points, and then you can spend those ARC points in-game to buy various cosmetic things. And one of the things that was brought up from the audience when that was announced was it will allow us to see what we've got without having to actually jump into separate ships to see what decals and things we have for those ships. You will be able to select the ship on the main menu and see exactly what's available for it and what stuff you already own.
There was a few finer details that came out of conversations, and also I believe that Frontier have posted on the forum, is that, first of all, it will not be initially available to gift people ARC points or paint jobs that are purchasable through the ARCs. So, a little bit sad, but you can kind of see how that will evolve. The second point they brought up, and it brought in my mind the images of the guy in Red Dwarf with the paintbrush, is you'll be able to change your livery of your ship without needing to dock. So if you're an explorer who's out in the black with Christmas tree lights on in now June, you should be able to remove them. The other thing that to mention is they did say it will just be cosmetics. There's no pay to win, there's no ARX points for multi-cannons or materials or anything like that. It's just purely a replacement for the store.
Yeah.
Because what Frontier are doing is there are other games with that have the similar in-game currency to trade for out-of-game stores. So you have the Plex system in Eve, and other games have a similar mechanic. They also said that you'll be able to earn ARX through playing the game.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not that's as simple as a timer, like every 10 hours you get given an ARC point, or whether they'll go for the daily system where, I don't know, kill 10 Thargoids, deliver 100 tons of this, and so by doing your dailies, you'll then get all these very common mechanics in other games, so it'll be interesting to see.
Didn't they not mention it was going to be linked to things like community goals and stuff like that? Or what the community goals called now?
Interstellar initiatives.
Interstellar initiatives. So yeah, there might be linked to some of those.
The other thing, a question I have is, if you've already got Frontier points, presumably there's going to be an exchange rate between your existing Frontier point balance and what you do. And we don't know what that figure is.
Yeah.
But I would imagine there will be some.
Yeah, there'll be some sort of
trading.
conversion, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ben, you've got the frequently asked questions that are posted on the forum there. Is there anything that we've missed about ARC that maybe is worth mentioning?
Frontier are confirming it's not going free to play.
Yeah.
But I'm not really a fan of all these points mean prizes systems. I like looking at the store and saying, I'm going to spend £2 on getting a paint job, not I'm going to spend 200 points on it.
Yeah.
That was the other feature, though. They did say if you have a 6-pack of paint jobs and you only like one, you will be able to individually purchase the paint job you like. You're not then made to buy the 6 you'll never use.
Yeah.
But that worries me as well, Shan, because at the moment you get like 6 paint jobs for £2 or £3 or whatever it is. Are they suddenly going to be, instead of 6 paint jobs for £3, is it going to be one of the same paint jobs for the equivalent of £2? And I could understand why it might be, but I really hope it isn't going to be.
I wouldn't mind that. I'd rather not have 10 paint jobs I'll never use.
Okay, so we've got our opinions. Guys in the audience, anybody got any opinions on the ARC system? Yay or nay? Say your commander name.
Commander Geist or Commander Clandestine, depending which account. Now, the only thing I'm really worried about is what you tend to seem to get with a lot of these points, for cosmetics things, is where the pound to point value doesn't quite cover a full product. So a similar thing happened with Diablo, where and that was even worse because you actually put in real money into Diablo 3, that is rather, and then they took away the marketplace, and the money you were left with in your Diablo account, World of Warcraft will not refund you.
Yeah.
Which, $8.99, well, not even $8.99. Sorry. I wonder what he was going to do then.
I just thought you were getting hopeful.
So the question back to you, sorry, just because I'm trying to get it straight in my own head, is how many days worth of in-game activity should equal a paint job in your view?
No, I agree. I don't know what that should be.
How would you feel if you had to wait a month to get a paint job? A week? What's the figure?
To me, I've always liked the current system is a couple of quid for a paint job.
Yeah.
It's the price of a cup of coffee. That, to me, is a good way of doing it. If that becomes 250 points, which you've had to pay £5 for or something, and it becomes where you have leftover points, which then you have to buy more of to buy the next thing. It just makes it.
I have to say, though, I find it very difficult to believe that Frontier, after having been able to fund an entire season through just cosmetic purchases, would then risk destroying that by seeing
Yeah,
this
I
as an
hope
opportunity
so.
to
That's what I'm
smuggle
hoping.
in a massive price rise.
Yeah.
Plus, they must know, and I'm sure, I don't even think they would consider this, but they must know that the community would be on to them within seconds.
If you want to charge your glasses, there's a particular game that we're all familiar with that you can.
What's that, Sean?
Oh, well, I think people know. And there's a particular game that we're familiar with that allows you to say, I will buy, and the currency used in this game is gems. I want to buy 125 gems, and you then charge for a specific number.
Yeah.
So you can't just buy. You can buy them in batches, but you can also say, I want this specific number. So I would hope that would be the route that they go, because you say, no one wants to buy 1,000 arcs and only have to use 100. Then you've got sticking in the bank in the vague hope a paint job comes up that you want.
Do you think that another thing that's quite common is you can buy, say, 1 arc for £1, 100 arc for £9, 1,000 arc for £70? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It's very difficult because when you start buying points for real currency, people then start making comparisons between the currency exchange rate used in the game and your localization versus how many you get. So typically, it's a 1 or something per UK pound. Where you go to the US or some other, it's 1.5 or so. There's this perception that you're somehow ripped off by buying in the UK. I mean, the reality is you've got VAT, you've got other taxes, and the other stuff comes out. But that's always a difficult when you are buying points for a different currency. So it'll be interesting to see which way Frontier go with that.
Yeah, did they give us a time frame as well when they're going to roll ARC out?
September update, isn't it?
September update. Okay, so watch this space. Did anybody have anything else on ARC before? Yep. Commander Roderick? Oh, you're going to do it, Ian. Sorry. He said he's got a question, so yeah. After you, Commander Osric can go.
It's a comment. You don't have to just buy it with currency. It's also earnable in-game, or there is, I don't know whether it's credits or not.
Yeah.
I did ask Will a question, and he said, well, there's no exchange rate.
Yeah, you won't be able to buy ARCs with credits, apparently.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know what the exchange rate between credits and points are, but it's going on his point of, you spend a bit of money, you buy something and you got something left, but you can always build that up again from in-game without actually costing you anything to get the next thing you want. So you're not going to have leftover points that do nothing. You can always use them. That's the kind of point.
Also, I suspect, I don't know, but I suspect that one of the reasons why Frontier are pro the ARC system is also because if you have a new initiative that you want to roll out and you want to get pilots turning up to this particular initiative, then you offer them ARC payment as a reward for participation in it, and therefore that gets the spikes that you maybe need, not just for statistics, but also for the fact that you've got the right number of people trying a new thing out.
Yeah, but it's also been it's been asked for years.
Do you want to just come and sit down here on the panel? There's just quite a few hands going up. That's all. Cheers, Ian.
Commander Runky Steve. ARCs for CQC.
Yeah, well, that's a potential. The thing that nobody's mentioned, we'll go to Commander Roderick in a second. Yes, I am just going to continue to get your name incorrect for the rest of the show. The other thing that we haven't mentioned, and we do have, we've got no confirmation as how we're going to earn these in-game, but to earn them in-game potentially means you can get into gold farming and stuff, which is an element of other massively multiplayer online games that I really don't like. And we've already had the issues in terms of macros and cheating and stuff like that. You don't really, I know it's not pay to win in terms of anything else, but yeah, you don't really want to encourage that sort of element of.
I thought they said there'd be a cap.
They said there was going to be a cap. Excellent. So there's already a way of buying Elite Dangerous credits online through
It
nefarious
takes 10
means.
hours to transfer them, but you can buy them.
Yeah. Okay, question from the audience. Who are you?
Commander Marco 2612. I'm on Xbox. We currently have a system where we will go to the Xbox store and buy Frontier points. So if you're looking at a pricing model, there's already one out there.
And what would you normally pay on Xbox for either a bundle or for an individual one-off skin?
For a tenner, you get 1,000 points, and 300 points normally buys you like a 6-pack of ship.
So it's exactly the same as a cash purchase.
800 for like a ship kit and things like that.
Yeah, it's about the same.
So there's already a model there.
Okay, so unless anybody's got any more points to say on Arc. Hold on, we've got one around the front. Commander Starion. Thanks, Wallacewoon. And one at the back as well.
Coffee. No, I will say, going back to what you mentioned about CQC for Arc Support CQC, I was sat on the table with Andy last night, deep in the cups, and someone actually put that to him, and you saw like there was a raised eyebrow moment. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did it, because like the guys that Arcs for CQC, you would just instantly revitalise the CQC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arcs for power play.
Exactly, that was the one that was coming to my mind. If they want to try and reinvigorate power play, then how better to reward the people that are playing power play than by giving them some arcs.
Existing MMOs have the daily system, as I said. So one of your dailies or weeklies would be win 3 CQC matches. So that's how they would.
I got to be honest. I find it very difficult to believe that Frontier will put some kind of, if you participate in the game for this long, you win this number of arcs.
Because you just turn your
as
PC
Fozzer
on
says
and go to
that,
work,
it's farming. I think it's going to be event based, and so I can't think of anything better than some kind of CQC tournament to win some arcs. I think that'd be a brilliant idea.
Yeah. So, question from the back. Who are you, sir?
Hello, Commander Antares Fusion. I do think splitting up the paint packs is good. It will definitely promote more transaction sales, because me personally, you see a pack of 6 and you only want one. It sort of puts me off buying them. So if you can split them up, it's just an easy way for them to make a bit of extra cash, even if they slightly overcharge for one.
Yeah.
The other snippet that came out about paint packs is they have improved the rendering method for paint packs, which means the. Well, it was probably, it was on the forum. Okay. They've improved the rendering of the paint packs, which means you can now get more complex paint packs than previously. So you won't just be limited to the 3 colours anymore. They've improved that, so the variety of paint packs you'll get will be greater. So I'm looking forward to that. I know Sally's full of ideas about the sort of paint packs she wants to do.
Okay, so we'll leave arcs for the time being, and let's go on to the worst reveal ever, because obviously it had already been revealed by a certain media outlet. Fleet carriers have raised their heads and have been confirmed as being in the December update. It was completely a teaser. They didn't go into any really They didn't go into any real details about how the fleet carrier system was going to work. But in terms of an in-game asset, in terms of seeing them, I have to say they looked pretty bloody cool. Lord knows how they're going to work in terms of squadrons and everything else. But I think as another piece of graphic design within the game, I think they've really knocked it out of the park. They are quite aspirational in terms of wanting to own them. But the fact that they didn't say anything about it is great, because it means we can now speculate wildly without any sort of evidence whatsoever about how they're going to work. So, how do we think they're going to work? How would we like them to work? We'll go down the panel, and then guys in the audience, if you can think of how you would like the ultimate, staff fleet carrier to work, then let us know as well. So, Shan?
Well, I had a long conversation with Adam Burke-Waite, trying to gain some information about how the fleet carriers work. And there's a number of issues that I think perhaps Frontier, and I know they are looking at, but should consider. First of all, it's how are you going to obtain them? Will they be individually purchasable, or should they only be available for a squadron to buy? The issue I have with them being a squadron to buy is, let's say they have a minimum number of players in a squadron, let's say 5. So I have 5 of my mates come and join, I buy a fleet carrier, they then bog off and do something else, and you've circumvented the restriction. The second point about being them squadron only is, let's say I decide to start a new squadron. Fozzer here has his own squadron with a fleet carrier. No one is going to want to come to my squadron because I haven't got a fleet carrier, so they'll go to you. So
Yeah, that's not going to be the only reason, but yeah, go on.
So I'm actually at an immediate disadvantage in starting off. And the third reason I want them to be solo purchasable is there are a number of players with significant amounts of money they don't know what to do with.
That's you, really, isn't it?
Not necessarily. But,
you are the Scrooge McDuck of our player game. You really are. You have more money than I know of anybody in the game.
Shan, you're the only person I know who have had NPCs pay you.
I just threaten them.
To be honest, I think Shan's NPCs have actually got more money between them than the rest of the crew do.
Yeah, your actual NPC crew earn how much on a normal game?
The amount of credits I've paid my NPC crews starts with 19, and it has lots of noughts behind it. But anyway,
how many noughts?
Many.
The point is the game has as a perceived issue is that once you have over a certain amount of money, there's nothing to do with it. You can't spend it. It just accumulates and gets more and more and more. A carrier then becomes a prestige item, something that's aspirational for the individual player to buy, and gives them an outlet to spend this money on, particularly if it's a relatively low purchase price, and you then have to work for and buy modules. The other aspect around carriers, which I'd be interested in how they do, is there was talk about you need to refuel them, I don't know, using grindonium, and you then have to refuel your carrier and then move it. Well, as I was saying to Adam, the enemy of fleet carriers is Discord. Because why should you, as a player group, have to spend 2 hours just to move your asset from A to B, where I can go, hey, I'll meet you in Lave at 7:30, and you can just go straight there without need to faff around trying to refuel a carrier. So there's all these sorts of questions that I'm curious to see how it's going to work out, and that's even before we get into, well, should they be available in open only? Are they private group? And what happens to them if they get attacked? And what happens if every single carrier turns up Shinrata? How is that all going to manage? So there's all sorts of questions that I have, but will only probably be revealed in time.
They are going to give us more information on that before December. They're going to trickle feed information on that for a while. Ben?
I'm just thinking, I really hope that they don't make it a bit like how the cruise ships are in Grand Theft Auto 5, where you go off and spend a silly amount of money on essentially some pretty boat that you can just sit out in the middle of nowhere and do nothing on apart from sitting in a jacuzzi and go and have a bed and go to bed or get a couple of drinks, but there's no real content on it. And then to move it around, you're paying like $1 million for your boat, but then to move it to another part of the game, you've got to go off and spend another $250,000 just to move it around, and that's shit, frankly.
Yeah,
I find that would depend. It depends how much it's going to cost to move and how far you can move it in one jump. So, for example, if Shan, Mr. Millionaire over here, has got enough money to say, right,
billionaire,
my fleet carrier is in Lave, I wanted to go to Shinrata Desra or Colonia. Let's choose a real destination, Colonia. How long would that take him? How much would that cost him versus me going out and doing it in Beluga or Anaconda or...
You see, Toxic, you're forgetting the git factor. In that I say, hey, LaveRadio, come on my fleet carrier, we'll take you off to Lave all in one go.
And then
I jump to Sagittarius A and just leave you there.
I've actually just had a possibly valid thought for fleet carriers. So you know how at the moment you can summon your ship to where you are? What happens if you get on a fleet carrier and then you can say, take me to, or take this ship to Shinrata Desra, or Colonia, and then it'll still take the 4 or 5 days that it takes you. It'll cost a crazy, stupid amount of money, but that way you can get your 5 or 6 ships that you've docked up at your fleet carrier to follow you along to Colonia, Explorer's Anchorage, wherever you happen to go. And it's a way of just playing it forward rather than having to summon
Yeah,
everything
that
backwards.
would be a very good use of one, because at the moment you can only summon a ship to where you are, so you
Yeah.
have to go there before you can bring your ship.
And it still
if
takes
you could
6-7
send your
days.
carrier ahead of you, then it becomes a more useful proposition.
But does that not then... carrier suggests military aspects. What you guys are talking about is fleet transport ship. And that's
Well, it's a fleet carrier, isn't
that's
it? It's what it
DHL
does.
more than anything else. That doesn't exactly strike wonders in terms of
It's
gameplay
like a
for
car
me.
transporter.
That's a U-Haul for your
exactly. Whereas I think the idea that we talked about on the
It's a U-Haul through the waters of Somalia.
Yeah. I quite like the idea of it being one of these situations where the gameplay is there's certain areas of the galaxy that you can't get into with normal ships. Say the Thargoids interdicted certain systems, and you needed something like a fleet carrier to actually break through the interdictions, and then that fleet carrier becomes your base of operations within those systems. And you then have to then work ways to take down certain sort of capture the flags or beacons to try and take down the interdiction things that the Thargoids have put up for the rest of the ships to be able to come through after you. But you're over there in your fleet carriers, and that's where you've got the new gameplay.
Should they be destructible?
Should they be? Well, they're either destructible or they then get pushed back out of the interdiction zone. Depends on how much you have to
Both
invest in
sets
them.
has amazing potential for griefing.
Yeah.
Because you only lose your fleet carrier once before you never moved it from the system it was in again. And if they're scarable, oh, what fun for players to keep scaring your carrier away and having to use a grind to keep bringing it back again.
Well,
so, there's all sorts of questions that pop up about it.
So hopefully Frontier have got a really great new gameplay mechanic that is going to be used for fleet carriers that we don't know of yet, but hopefully it's not just U-Haul for the galaxy. Ben, I'm going to come to you and then going to go to the audience
John.
with ideas. Oh, sorry, I'm going to come to John and then I'm going to go
Well,
to the
no,
audience.
it's just that I was saying, given the number of objections and issues and things that Shan and the rest of the guys have brought up, I wonder whether the fleet carriers won't be something like an Uber.
An Uber?
You don't actually own them, but your squadron can order a fleet carrier from A to B, and it turns up, you jump on board and off it goes, because then all of the issues that Shan has said were going to create problems wouldn't be, and therefore when it is being attacked, it decides, its captain decides, no, sod this for a game of soldiers, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And it's your job to protect the fleet carrier, otherwise it will bugger off.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it becomes just something like a big kick-ass Uber.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, John. Who's going to loan a fleet carrier to LaveRadio?
Hey, listen, I'm sure if they've got enough credits.
Hey,
you just need to find a sugar daddy that's got billions of credits that's willing to...
and then invite him onto the team so that he can bankroll
under
the
the
whole
pretense
thing.
of being interested in what he has
Do
to
you
say.
really want to entrust me with transporting you lot around the galaxy and you expect to end up where you want to be?
Yes, because otherwise we will shoot you.
Good luck. It doesn't matter. Right, where's the microphone? Oh, Wallacemoon's going to get it. Excellent. So I thought we might have a few hands for this one. So you, sir, haven't spoken, so we'll go to the right-hand side of the room. Who are you, and what would you like to say?
LCU No Fool Like One from Canon Interstellar.
Yep.
Fleet carrier is really interesting to me. I mean, we want to have one, obviously, but we have some control over a mega ship already.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the most interesting things about it is that you can jump 500 light years, which is in some ways not enough. But the only thing is we can only jump 500 light years in a week, which you could do in
an hour or so.
An
Yeah,
hour of
yeah.
flying. So we were thinking, we'd like to take it beyond Beagle Point and get to a point nobody can ever get to. But it's going to take us 6 months to fly there. And I'm hoping the fleet carrier will give us something a bit better than that. I think it'd be great for everyone to be able to have that facility and to be able to join in with it.
Well,
It'd be interesting if anyone can dock with it as well, because obviously anyone can dock on the Gnosis and join us wherever we take it.
Well, they have pioneered that tech of moving assets around outside the server tick, haven't they? So that is now possible to do that outside the surface.
We have to book the route in like a month in advance, and they also have to vet it to make sure sure that we're not going somewhere they don't want us to go.
Yeah, well, there's the mega bus, isn't there now, between Human Guardian Space, and there's the proposed mini bus around the colonial area as well, outside the six. So I think the work they've done there is paving the way for what they want to do with fleet carriers, personally.
No, I think it's great, though. I'm really looking forward to see what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else had questions? We've got two over on the left-hand side of the room. Starion. You're going to have to wait.
Was there any conversations regarding capacity? Is it finite or unlimited?
Yeah, it's a good question. We didn't hear anything about capacity. Again, it was very much a tease, wasn't it? So there seemed to be a damn lot of docking pads on the thing. But in terms of, although with those docking pads, wasn't anyone else a little bit alarmed that they're all on the exterior? There was nothing that you could fly into. There was no sort of like docking bays, Star Trek wise, with the force field up that you'd go in. Not that I really want to fly up the arse of a megaship, but yeah, I think I'd much rather dock inside and then go on a pad and land, as opposed to have all the pads external and then land.
They were all next to each other, and don't you, when you land on a pad, then go down?
You do,
and you regress back into a hangar, and of course that will be underneath the pad that you've landed next to. And
yeah,
hey.
but
Adam asked me, "What do you want?" From the carrier. And what I postulated, you have a relatively low initial purchase cost. And I'm not going to tell you what I thought initially low was, but anyway. You have a relatively low purchase cost, but then you have add-ons. So your standard ship might come with small and medium pads. You pay or do something extra.
Okay.
You then upgrade to large pads, and so you can then, as a squadron individual...
Deluxe Uber.
Yeah, you can then have an option to have a shipyard, an option to have universal cartographics or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you then build it.
Yeah, no, I like that idea.
Over a period of time. I think people they saw basically 2 mediums, 2 small, and 2 large, I think, on the image.
Yeah, so my only concern about it being on the exterior side of things is if you're going PvP or if you're in a hostile zone, you could still be shot whilst you're docking, whereas I quite like the idea of having a battered ship and trying to get it through the slot. And being protected. Although, again, we never saw anything about the weapon systems on the fleet carrier.
Oh, come on, it's got to have a massive, great big barrage of...
Well, you'd hope, wouldn't you?
I'd want to have ship-launched fighters that shoot out like in Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
That would be...
Yeah, that's what I want. That's how I want to launch from one of those.
We are talking about megaships, not a Coriolis, right?
I know, but still. No, we're not talking about that megaship. We're talking about fleet carrier. Completely different thing.
Still a megaship compared to a Coriolis or an Orbis.
Let's take a question from Starion first.
Less of a question, more of a comeback for what Shan said about Discord being the enemy of fleet carriers. I'm part of a squadron myself, Federal Reclamation Company. We do a lot of PGS stuff, going to a lot of war zones and things like that to expand our area. I think what the cool thing about fleet carriers will be is, okay, we can all dock up at it, and then Squadron Lead can turn around and say, okay, there's a war going on in X system, we are moving the carrier there, so that the next time I log in, I don't have to transport myself there and catch up with everyone else and waste, say, an hour of my playtime just getting from A to B because I'm already there.
But you don't actually need the fleet carrier to do that. It's a convenience. It's not a necessity.
I know it's convenience, but I do think that would make it. You're spending less of your playtime as downtime, as it were. It's like, okay.
Which comes back to the question of whether you need to refuel it, because if you have to spend an hour refueling it, you might as well fly there.
There hasn't been any indications of refueling any of the ships in game. In terms of megaships, has there?
They have mentioned it, yeah.
Really?
Well, that was the whole thing about
detail.
like refueling jacks when that jumped.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a
good
CG
point.
at the time.
Yeah.
But, you're talking a station there, not just a carrier.
And also, you have to remember that carriers are force projection. They're not just a convenient way of transporting. They are an opportunity for a squadron or a group to arrive in a system and say, right, we quite fancy a bit of this, anyone else? And then, of course, what you get is you get force carrier against force carrier, blatting at each other with their batteries of anti-aircraft turrets, whilst all your fighters come out and fight them.
Someone goes into a different private group than you when you're not there. And
yeah, but that's why I think they've got their problem of don't have it in private.
I was going to say carriers only work in open.
Yeah.
Let's get people back in open. Other questions from the audience around carriers? Anything that you guys would like to see? Anything that worries you slightly when we bring this game mechanic in? Ian at the back.
Just wondering if they have cosmetics.
You see, now this is what I was. Yeah, good. You brought this point in. So, how about we've talked about the guy on Red Dwarf where he's painted it red. What's the cost of a paint pack for a carrier, and how long does it take you to actually paint it?
I don't know. What's your hourly rate?
No, I certainly won't be painting the damn thing.
We also only have seen one carrier.
Yep.
Was the carrier we saw, was that in quotes an alliance or an independent carrier? Will you have a white, sleek-looking one for the Empire and a more chunky, military-looking one for the Federation? Will there be different sorts? I'd hope so.
Yeah, absolutely.
What if there's a carrier like the Federation Farragut with the central channel?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You have a Farragut shape almost, and then a majestic interdictor shape. Yeah, that's sort of that'd be cool.
So are we assuming that as it's a mega ship, it will work like the other carriers in terms of it won't actually blow up, it will just bug out?
I would have thought that would make more sense, really, to be honest.
I'm not sure.
Could you imagine the insurance?
I will have endless fun making other people's carriers bug out just to make them move it back again.
Right. So
I still have great for moving around for people like that. Where the bloody thing's gone?
I bet when you were at university, you were one of these bastards that would go around on a drunken night and picking up people's minis and carrying them off down the road and putting them somewhere completely
I wasn't
different.
drunken, but I went way, way, way beyond moving minis around. But that's
Just stay
another
friends
story.
with Shan.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so unless there's anything else people want to mention about fleet carriers, we can move on to one of the nice things about Lavecon is, of course, is everybody that comes to Lavecon gets a Lavecon skin, and this year it was for the Crate Mark II, which I don't own, the Crate Phantom, which I don't own, and the Mamba, which I don't own. So I'm going to have to go out and buy some ships as soon as I get home to put these paint jobs onto, which is fine.
Me too.
I'm going to get a loan off Shan. But do we all like the Lavecon skins? Yeah? Big thumbs up from the audience.
My favourite was the Mamba. I thought the Mamba looked superb with a Lavecon skin, personally.
Yeah. Don't worry, Fozza. I've got to fly 22,000 light years home to pick my crate up to paint it out.
Fozza, you do not want a loan from the Bank of Shan.
No, that's a good point.
Go to the Iron Bank in Game of Thrones, haven't you?
No, there are some ships, however, that are designed better for the Lavecon skin, or should I say the Lavecon skin looks better on. Yeah. And I have to say, the cutter just looks majestic, so much so that Commander Edelweiss has taken a particularly nice shot of his ship blasting away from a Thargoid site, which we've half-inched with his permission and is going to appear in one of the battle cards.
Oh.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, but Ben then ruins it by putting wings on it.
Wings?
Only so it'll stick better.
Stick to what?
No, and no. Just no.
Just remember, only a little bit came out, so we're all right.
It worries me that I'm the only person in the room that got that joke, Ben. If I'm on the same level as you, that really is alarming. Okay, so let's open the mic up from the...
Some good news about the paint jobs. They're available right now. So we don't have to wait till the September update for them.
So they are live in the system already?
Yeah,
excellent.
I applied mine at, in the LAN room today. So.
Perfect, okay. Open mic to the audience. Anything that you've seen from the Frontier panel, anything that is really exciting you about the game, anything that you've spoken to people about at Lavecon that you are itching to get home and try out, now would be your time to share it on the show. And while you're thinking about it, I'm gonna open with one that I got in the fantastic panel that we did with some of the guys that have been doing the expedition plannings, and it was something I never realised. So when you not that it happens to people that fly properly, but when you crash out in front of a star after you've been in Super Cruise and you're waiting for your engine to re-tick over, if you actually unlock your next destination, it will take you half as long to actually recharge your engines as it does if you keep your destination locked on. Something I never knew that I learned from Lavecon this time. And I'm not that I make a habit of crashing into stars, but I do. So the fact that this could hit half the amount of time, the amount of damage that I take was phenomenal. The other little nugget that I got from them was also when you are fuel scooping, turn off your shields. Shields do nothing in terms of protecting your heat against a star. And actually, yeah, you see, this is the thing. Half the room are giving me the nonchalant, yeah, of course, that makes sense. And the other half are staring at me open mouthed with their jaws on the ground, as to say, oh yeah, that would make, And so with your shields off, you can actually go much cooler and you can get much closer to the star and do fuel scooping for a lot longer.
By the time I found the button that switches my shields off, I would have crashed into the sun. So I think I'll probably save it and just carry on.
Once you get
doing
about
what I'm
1,500 light
I guess
years away
there's-
from populated space, you can use, it's best to turn your shields off and all sorts of things off.
Yeah, silent running, exactly. There's a button on my hot ass to do that, so that'll be fine.
Which unfortunately does nothing about your heat, though.
But I guess, I've always got my shields up when I'm flying my ship, even if I'm in the middle of nowhere. But you're right, there isn't any point, but I guess there's not really any benefit to having them on at all, is there? It's just
Until
using
you want
heat.
to land on the 10G planet. Then you've got to remember to turn them back on again.
Yeah.
What are
Good
these
point,
shield
Witherspoon.
things you're talking about?
Okay, so apart from those two nuggets, what have we got in the audience? Have we got anybody that wants to share something that they're really looking forward to? Maybe it's an aspect of the game that you haven't done before, exploration or mining, that you're looking forward to getting back in and trying that, or maybe it's a new paint job other than the ones that belong to the Crate Mark II, the Crate Phantom and the Mamba. Anything that you're looking forward to? Wonderful. There we go. We've got one. Alex has got one. Thank goodness for that.
Well, I don't know. Is this general highlights or just?
Yeah, general highlights, stuff you're looking forward to, whatever you want.
I did see something in the land room today, which was pretty cool, which I think a lot of people forget is in the game, which is I forget what you call it, but the 3D mode where you have the red and green glasses on.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
stereoscopic
I
vision.
think a lot of people forget it's there, and I've never tried it, and it works really well. It works amazingly well. So we were flying through asteroids, and the 3D is terrific. So yeah, don't forget your game comes with 3D. And apparently you can get a pack of those glasses off Amazon for £1 for 10.
Wow. Okay.
Or just don't return them from the cinema.
The cinema, I don't think, have red and green glasses anymore. It might be an indication
can I
of
ask
how
you one
long it's been
question
since you
about
went to the cinema.
Yeah, I don't like 3D cinema.
No. But no, good shout.
One question about the stereoscopic 3D. I saw you guys checking it out in the LAN room.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys actually have the glasses on?
I
Because I
did.
didn't see a pair of glasses there.
Yeah, they were there. They were there. Yeah, it's not so good without the glasses.
I was just wondering if you were trying to get any secret details or something, but
no.
And that is a key thing. There are so many hidden gems in the game that we just don't realise. Yeah.
Anybody else in the room? Yeah, we've got one over there.
It's not tips or anything, but the highlight of the highlight for me was meeting my other Canon colleagues and hearing that you've all been trying out the VR that they put there, because we've been doing an experiment with a virus, and if any of you go blind, could you just let us know? And it was great being able to meet up with Pete, who is without him I couldn't do some of the stuff I do on the radio show for Hutton Orbital.
I think if Ben goes blind, it'll be for another reason.
Well, actually, funny you should say that. Another highlight of the weekend was I was in the men's toilets.
Again, I'm going to close this one down nice and quickly.
Well, I heard
if we're going to have any sort of George Michael experiences here, I'm
Well,
not sure
no,
this is
no,
the time or the place to discuss them.
I heard this voice. Someone said, could you rub my purple head for me? and to my relief, I turned round and it was Ben, and he was holding some tissues.
Is that a relief, though?
The relief was the highlight.
So rubbing Ben's purple head was your highlight.
In the men's toilets.
I couldn't see what was happening to the back of my neck. I was just total dribbling back there.
Oh, okay. Let's move on. Ian, please move us on.
Yeah, highlights. I saw Sally this morning.
Yep.
Inside with sunglasses. So I made a comment about the sunglasses. It hurts.
Yeah, no.
But it was so much fun. I want to do it again.
Yeah, the Frontier team and Sally and Will and Paige from the community team really did get the most out of the event. I think it's probably the best way of discussing it. Anything else, guys, that you're looking forward to, or any other sort of comments? Yeah.
So we tried Artemis the first time this weekend, and it's absolutely brilliant. Love it. So next time, Foz.
Yeah, absolutely. So Artemis, again, for those people that are just listening to the actual radio side of things, it's one thing that we've been doing for, about 4 years now at Lavecon. It's the bridge simulation. It's a bridge crew simulation experience, which is really good. You get your friends down, and one person will do engineering, the other person will be the big mamba jamba in the captain's chair. You've also got science, you've got weapons. I'm saying this like I've done it. I haven't. This is yet another Lavecon where I've yet to sit in the Artemis room. But it's been a really good event for Artemis. A lot of people have said it. They've tried it for the first time, and yeah, it's been really, really good fun. Yeah.
Can I just very quickly jump in on that, only because it is connected with Artemis? But for the last 3 years, and just by pure accident, Alex Brentnall has been our captain, only because 3 years ago we needed someone, and so we grabbed him. He happened to just walk past the room, so we physically grabbed him, dragged him in, sat him in the captain's chair, and said, "You're leading us." And in the last 2 years, we've come equal first with his fantastic stewardship. And I heard that he wasn't able to come to this Lavecon because he's going through a bit of a rough time at the moment. And so I just wanted to use this opportunity, if I can, to just send out huge love and our best wishes to Alex. Hope everything gets sorted out. And if he doesn't turn up next year, he is in deep trouble.
Yeah, we will. Well, in fairness, I mean, you guys are getting desperate. We know you guys are getting desperate because you actually invited me to take his place this year. So if he's not going to get there next year, what we'll do is we'll actually pack up the Artemis rig and we'll take it to him.
Yep.
And you can complete your Artemis round in his front room.
Awesome.
And why not just call him up and have him at the front on loudspeaker?
FaceTime. You can just put in FaceTime in the chair. That would work.
There you go.
Staring at the screen on FaceTime.
One of the most poignant highlights for me was the tribute to Michael.
Oh, God.
You know, there wasn't a dry eye in the house when we heard about that, and it just really emphasised to me how unique the elite community and Frontier are as a company and as a community, and it was there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Yeah, so. that was rough. Because again, Matt came, it was rough, but Matt came and he spoke so eloquently about his nephew and the interactions that he'd had in his final days with the community and with Frontier Developments and with all the guys that have joined up in game with him and made his final day so memorable. And of course, the audio book that the community have grouped together, Drew Roygar wrote, and they got it recorded using voice actors and presented it. It was done in 3 days, and it was presented to Michael. I think it was the day before he passed away, so he heard the audio book. And I can hear myself choking up again here. But fair play to Matt. He came to the community to thank the community at large and Frontier Development for the efforts they put into making Michael's final day so memorable. And everybody, I suppose we'll use the show as well. But a massive thank you to everybody out there who's been in the game and who's been flying with Michael during his final weeks and stuff, and making that boy's life, however small, so much better. Whatever small improvement the Elite Dangerous community could have on that situation, I'm so proud. To count myself a member of the Elite Dangerous community, and as I've said before, that this the best gaming community that is out there on the internet. So no, I think well done, Shan. That's a good shout out in terms of one of the extreme highlights. However, bittersweet from Lavecon this year.
If I may jump on that, I have to say I'm really proud, not only of the crew but of the whole community for coming together to make young lad's life the last few days the best days he could have had.
Yeah.
I'm sure when we were all kids, our mothers told us, get off the video games, they're not going to do you any good.
Yeah.
Now we can turn around and say, actually, Mom.
Yeah, and that story's been picked up by The Guardian, hasn't it? So, it's gone to a much wider reach, and hopefully it will do something to offset the negative, the sometimes negative impact that gaming communities have with a wider media, and how they can be used in such a positive way. Okay, any other? Yeah, we've got another question from the audience or experience.
It's not so much a question; it's an experience of the whole weekend.
Yeah,
it's been absolutely fantastic again. New things to do. I tried drone flying courtesy of yourself earlier, which was fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for not crashing it. I appreciate that.
Well, unfortunately, I did crash Ben's, but it survived. So at the end of the day, but it's new experiences and things like that. And as you said, it's the effect that these communities have on the overall picture of. I mean, gaming has got a lot of bad press lately, especially AAA gaming. But it's communities like this that really that have the power to change that for the better and make a positive community charitable outlet for things. And I think that's really important. And I talk to a lot of people at work, in the community, and I tell them all about Elite and the community surrounding Elite. It's such a fantastic community.
Yeah.
And I know of several people that are planning to come to these events based on that, because it's they hear about it and they actually actively come and talk to me about it to ask me questions and things like that. So, it's fantastic.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So the other thing, obviously, don't forget that we've also got, and it's probably apt to say it's happening after the show, is we have the raffle, which we do every year. So we support two charities through Lavecon. We support Special Effects, which everybody in the community will know is a charity that supports people with disabilities to get into gaming and experience the escapism, the positive escapism that computer gaming can provide, and the sense of community that we've already talked about to people that have forms of disability where it makes it otherwise impossible to do that. Has a massive impact on people's lives. And we also have the EDS, which is the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a group of 13 genetic disorders which work with the connective tissues within the body, which can result in chronic pain, fatigue, and stuff. And we've got obviously a connection with that with Karen, who organises Lavecon. Who has been dealing with that for a number of years. So it's not just the positivity that we have that we broadcast out onto the web, but these are two charities that obviously Frontier Development supports Special Effects as well as us. But the generosity that we have from you guys, not only just buying the raffle tickets, something nice and straightforward, but also offering up prizes as well. And some of the prizes are just phenomenal. We've had personal works of art that people have done about the game that have been here this year. We've had posters, we've had stuff that people make. We have a great sort of cottage industry within the community. I see a lot of you wearing some bespoke dog tags that we've actually had, metal dog tags that have been printed at the convention. I myself have got some, which, these sort of things are great little prizes and just show the ingenuity that we have within the community. So, overall, a massive positivity around the stuff that we do as a community. And as I said before, really proud to be part of it. So, excellent. What's next? Are we done? Have we got any more?
I've got one more comment from the audience, which is a friend of mine who's got an all-time high-scoring Galaxians over this weekend, as well as meeting book author Drew Wager for the first time after receiving a few books, the most recent being Distant Worlds 2.
Yep. So... absolutely. So we've got a few shout-outs that we'll do as we close the show, but certainly, the likes of Drew we will mention. He is prolific in terms of his literature for Elite Dangerous, and it is phenomenal. Sorry, another question from the audience before I go waffling on.
Just a final highlight: playing EDRPG this weekend.
Yeah.
And the favourite bit of it where Yamix managed to kill 4,000 people, including himself.
So Commander Yamix, the streamer you guys might have
did he
known.
manage to do that?
4,000 people and
4,000,
himself. That's
that's
got to be a
not bad
record. Sorry, give the microphone back to him. I want to hear how Yamix
how
managed to
did
kill
this happen?
4,000 people and himself.
Trying to steal weapons from a weapons locker, and he was very keen. Whilst there, found a plasma accelerator, and he was inside, and the door was locked. And well, how else do you get out by using that? And managed to blow up a couple of city blocks with everyone that was there.
I can imagine Yamix doing that, actually. I've
he
got a
was very
plasma
proud.
accelerator in an enclosed room.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
Yes, because Yamix is such a thoughtful soul, isn't he?
I don't even think I want to know what the dice roll was for that. Was that a double one? If it could cause that much damage?
I don't think he needed a roll. Foregone conclusion.
Brilliant stuff. Starion, what were you going to say, sir?
Yeah, just highlight for this weekend is the fact that I'm here for a start. First time, so yes, thank you all for taking my virginity.
Pop your cherry anytime. No.
I broke Fozza.
Oh,
highlights breaking Fozza. Being able to sit here, heckle you guys live and on Twitch at the same time. And yeah, I just hope that every time you see me like in the Twitch stream, you're going to like think, oh my god, that shirt.
Well, actually, we were outside flying drones, and it was hilarious to see how many flies, literally little bee-type flies, were surrounded you because your shirt is so loud and looks so flowery that you have to be mistaken for some sort of tropical paradise by the local insect life, which was great because it kept the flies off the rest of us. But you were literally buzzing, not just because you were flying the drone, but you were buzzing with the amount of flies you had around you, which was brilliant. You make a good point, actually, and it's probably right to shout it out at that point. The Twitch stream. So obviously not everybody can be here, and in fairness, there's so much going on around the actual hotel itself. Not everybody can be in all the panels that you want. So some panels have been more populated than others. But what we've had all the way through is, even if they haven't been in the room, we've had quite a lot of audience participating throughout the event on Twitch as well. And we might not shout you out as much as we should do to the Twitch guys, but we have been watching the comments being put through there. So a massive thank you to the guys on Twitch. And even though you're not there in person, you are definitely here with us, and we are watching your comments. So a massive thank you to Alien, who's been hanging out inside there, doing a great job moderating all of that for the last 3 days. So cheers, guys, and hopefully we'll see you here in person if it's not too big a journey for next year.
Plus, the Twitch stream does make a nice coffee ordering service, apparently.
It does.
And donuts.
And donuts, coffees and donuts. What more could we ask?
To be fair, we didn't order the donuts. That was unexpected gifts.
And going over and above the Call of Duty, I think that one is.
We
Although I
have the best
have
audience
noticed
ever.
that you've now confiscated the donuts down that side of the table, and nobody else can actually reach them.
No, it's my rider for every
I'm
time
not
I
sorry.
Well, if it's your rider, John, for Spider-Man games, then I think it's quite bad that we've taken them off you. So we'll pass them back at the table.
Yay, thank you very much.
Mini
But my donuts.
Mini donuts. What could get better? Yeah, I had about 10 of those. So enjoy the last 2. Any other things from the audience before we wrap this show up? No, okay. So let's just have a few shout outs. So first and foremost, he's on the panel. He's down there stuffing donuts. So whilst he's eating, I'm going to do a big shout out to Spider-Man Games for being again our fantastic sponsor for the event. As you can see, we've already heard a great comment that's already happened from EDRPG. I've had some of the best times playing EDRPG, and the battle card games just looks like it's another product that's going to take the company from strength to strength. So thank you, John. Thanks to Oliver as well for
Thanks very
being
much
here.
indeed for having us.
It has been great. And another guys that have now gone, unfortunately, and that's the HCS voice packs. Paul Watson and crew have been down here doing a bit of promotion and showing people what the amazing voice packs can actually add to the game. And yeah, I just wanted to. I suppose another highlight to this weekend was I was able to actually shake the man by the hand because I've been out of game for about 3 months, and I got back into it by looking at some of the voice packs and thinking, well, I've never really got them to work before, but I'll give it another go. And the new crew roster scheme that they've got, don't do it. It gets very expensive very quickly. The ability to put lots of these voice packs into your game at any one time and assign a crew. So I have got... in my ship flying around with me, I have Will Shatner, I have Brian Blessed, I have Tom Baker, I have Kate Russell, and they're all sort of engineering or they're science officer, and they're just constantly sort of twittering away in the ear. But in terms of making the game more immersive and adding something new, it's a phenomenal product. If you haven't tried it out with Voice Attack, another phenomenal product. If you haven't tried it out, really do put aside some time and give it a go. You will not be disappointed. It really does add an extra element to the game. So that's HCS voice packs. We've already mentioned him. The ambassador himself, Mr. Drew Wagar, has been here for this Lavecon, doing some book signings and meeting and greeting, pressing the flesh, as all good ambassadors are want to do. His Elite Fiction, we have Elite Reclamation and Premonition. But of course, he also has written the Lords of Midnight official fiction. So anybody that had a Spectrum back in the day, we, in fairness, this convention is probably his target audience in terms of age range, people that will, understand what a Lords of Midnight pull-up is supposed to be representing. He's done that book as well, and he's got lots of projects in the pipeline. So check him out and Google Drew Wagar and see what he's up to. But it's been great having him here for the course of Lavecon, and of course. Lavecon really wouldn't be Lavecon if we didn't have some representation from Frontier. They've been so great at supporting the LaveRadio crew and the community at large. But we've had Zach Antonacci, who is he's just such a lovely fella. He's been here. We've had Sally, Will, Paige. That's not Sally, Will, Paige as one person. We've had Sally and Will and Paige from the community. They've been absolutely phenomenal. Some of them, it's their first Lavecon. We've had Dom, we've had Adam, Adam W, and Adam BW. We've had Peter, we've had Dav here. All these people giving up their time. We obviously had the Stanley cameo by Sandy Samarco, and it's just it makes such a difference to Lavecon to be able to share our enthusiasm for the game with them and their enthusiasm in the game with us. I mean, that these guys are passionate when you know that Zach actually flew back from his holiday in Italy just to come to Lavecon. So leaving the family behind, came back from Italy just so he could be here with the community. So on a 4 a.m. flight, God. So it really does go to show the passion that these guys have got, not just for the game but for the community. So it's really great that they've been changing the show notes onto the next page. I've just realised that I've got a few people that I missed off, not least Steve Kirby, who was also here from Frontier, and Sarah Jane Avery was here as well. So a massive thank you for them giving up their time and joining us. Any other shout-outs that you guys want to make before we wrap up the show and move on to the next thing?
Just a shout out to the organisers of Lavecon, I think. For the lovely Karen and Alan.
Just walked in,
for doing such an exceptional job.
Yeah, most definitely. We wouldn't have a convention if it wasn't for Karen. She's very humble. She's very sort of behind the scenes. But she keeps us all in our place and the wheels on this thing rolling. If it wasn't for her, the wheels would have dropped off this years ago. So a massive thank you to Karen and Alan for organising stuff. So, okay, it was nobody mentioned Hutton Orbital, our sister station. That was. Okay, so they didn't pay us this year. So they squatted. They had squatting rights for Lavecon this year, but their broadcast I really enjoyed as well, which I should have probably mentioned. And Dockers, late night Dockers, always an experience. Oh, well, to be fair, I mean, this is just the end of Lave Radio, and yeah, to be fair, we should be shouting out the guys who do the technical stuff, and we will do in terms of wrapping up the convention, but certainly for the show, it should be pointed out that we have a fantastic technical team that come down here and set up with us, and you'll all know Psycho Cow, you all know Grant, but Grant's brother, Simoof, and also his son, Dylan, have been here and have been doing a phenomenal job in making sure that all the sound works, all the cameras for Twitch are working, all the projections are working, and yeah, they are phenomenal. It's a labour of love for them, but the hours of preparation and stuff that they put into making sure this goes well. They've just crashed the stream. Thanks for that, guys. It shouldn't be underestimated. Those guys, they are our technical rocks. So we couldn't have it without them. So, okay, but that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. That's it for our 250th episode of Lave Radio. Thank you very much to the guys on the panel, to Toxic, to Ben, to Shan, and of course to Wotherspoon. How have you turned it into Wotherspoon? You were John a second ago.
Yes.
Oh, there he is. A massive thank you to John from Spider-Man Games for joining us on the panel. Do appreciate you being here. If you can get to a microphone past.
You're very welcome.
Excellent. So that's it for our 250th episode. A massive thank you to everybody that's been in the room who's been giving us inspiration in terms of stuff to talk about, and also your thoughts and feedback on the show. If you can give us a massive cheer. Thank you very much, and indeed, guys, you've been phenomenal. 250th episode in the bag. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, then you can email us at info@laveradio.com, Facebook/LaveRadio. We are at LaveRadio on Twitter. And for future episodes, you can join us on our main hangout, which is twitch.tv/LaveRadio. And future shows will be broadcast, recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30, normally 8:30-ish. We're normally late, and we will stream it out on Twitch. So
we'll probably not have a show this week.
I think we'll probably be recovering, so don't expect a show this week. But thank you to all those commanders that have joined us here at Lavecon this year. Until next time, guys, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous. See ya. Well done, mate. Yeah, we've got Galnet News. Are you doing it live? Are you doing it live?
Good time.
Introduce yourself, mate, and just say, I get the opportunity to do this live.
Yeah.
That's Peter.
I'm going to see Yes.
I did say that.
Okay. Thank you for reading out the news. Very welcome. I'll do it again. Cheers then.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Thank you. Lave Radio, episode 200, part C. We do the episode because they couldn't be bothered to. In this week's episode, we get a bathroom update from Cow. We discuss the latest development news. We chew the fat on the way we'd like the game to work if it didn't work the way it does. We slap ourselves on the back by reading out some iTunes reviews. Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 200, Part C of LaveRadio, the show that talks about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it in a highly unstructured and disorganized way. Joining me in the orange Sidewinder for this episode are some people with microphones that only work intermittently. So what have we all been up to this week? Some tiles were laid in Grant's bathroom, but one of the suppliers let him down. Ben has been slogging through deep space on some expedition or other, and Chan has been blowing up noobs using an anonymous Sidewinder. Commander Souverain has been getting married, and Phoenix de Fire has been repairing miniature ships after an accident involving a cup of tea. Fozza has a long and involving story about a children's party that uses up the next 25 minutes of airtime. Let's go for an advert break. Eddie Lee Wise, Colin McGrath, Fish. The latest news from the Pilots Federation. There's another of those interstellar initiatives that are supposed to be more interesting than community goals, but are really just community goals. There's allegedly much more interesting news just around the corner, but unfortunately, the corner is a very long way away. Come back to Lavecon 2020 and LaveRadio episode 300 to hear more. Main discussion. We spent so long talking about bathrooms and children's parties that we don't have time for a main discussion this week. But Sean doesn't understand why the galaxy can't be more like World of Warcraft. And Ben is confused about something simple. If Alan is present, he'd like to discuss game loops and mention Phoenix Point at length. Let's go for another advert break. Really big gas tank, onion head, in the style of train spotting. It's time for the shout-outs. We've had a lovely 5-star iTunes review this week. Mr. C. Forrester writes, LaveRadio is my favourite podcast about a 1-to-1 scale simulation of the entire Milky Way galaxy that's broadcast live on a Tuesday night and always features at least one Scot. It was good to hear Fozza on the show. He is my favourite presenter, and his stories about children's parties are so amusing. Lavecon 2019 is from the 5th to the 7th of July at the Sedgebrook Hall Hotel, and if you are only just hearing about this now, I'm afraid you are too late. Except for the raffle. And that was this week's episode of LaveRadio. LaveRadio, we keep trotting out the same tired old formula, so you don't have to. Glad you liked it, Fozza. Hmm?
Within my head, and I swear against my